bit about the rise in nationalism that we're seeing globally. So many people are saying it's racism, xenophobia, rather than citizens wanting to rise up, reclaim their sovereignty from global powers. So what do you really see is behind Brexit and other countries?
Well, what I've seen is several decades of big politics, big government, treating democracy with contempt, treating anybody that was even vaguely patriotic about their country and their identity as somehow being really absolutely awful. I mean, what a dreadful thing for people to do. I've seen an international political order that has led us into an endless series of foreign wars, which in many cases have made things worse, not better. And at the heart of all of it, corporatism, the big international businesses virtually owning politics, and the rich getting massively richer and the ordinary Joe being left behind. So things have gone badly wrong, and I think people have become very unhappy about this. They recognise this, and they're beginning to find political opportunities to express that. And Brexit was exactly that. Brexit was, despite everybody threatening us, everyone telling us it'd be a terrible mistake, the British people said, to hell with you, we want to take back power over our lives. And that's actually what it's about. That's what this reassertion of democracy is really about.
Right, and we saw so much fear being put out there, so many naysayers, so many doomsdayers, really kind of warning the rest of the world, don't you dare think about reclaiming your sovereignty. What do you see would be the effect of Brexit for the world?
Well, what Brexit shows, firstly, is that any campaign can win. Any campaign can win. You can beat the big guys, you can beat the establishment if you inspire ordinary people to engage in a democratic process. That's the first thing. And secondly, I just have a feeling that things aren't ever going to be quite the same again.
Yes.
I think it's such a fundamental. It's not just a British event. It's not just a European event. It is an event of global significance, and that's good. We need change. I mean, unless people think that voting can change things, why would you ever bother to vote?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so now you're here in Cleveland at the Republican National Convention. Donald Trump was just named as the Republican nominee. Are you here to endorse Donald Trump?
No, I'm not, and that would be a terrible mistake. You know, after all, President Obama engaged himself in British politics and had the counter effect. I'm not an American. I'm not an American voter. I'm here watching, a part of your democratic process with great interest. But I'm also here bringing a message from the Brexit campaign that if you can reach the hearts and minds of ordinary people, you can change anything.
And what do you think a Donald Trump administration would bring not only to our relationships with our oldest ally, but to the rest of the world?
Well, I think that remains to be seen. I mean, clearly Trump is fighting on an America First ticket, and there's a feeling that maybe the interests of ordinary Americans need putting higher up the food chain than perhaps they've been under the last couple of administrations. So we'll have to see. As far as we're concerned, I mean, look, let's be honest about it. You know, the UK and the USA, we are pretty much, we have been for a long time, the closest allies in the world. We've stood together through some pretty heavy stuff. And frankly, if we hadn't done that in the 20th century, the world would be a much darker place than it is today. I believe that what we've done is to free ourselves from this political club, and we can now come and talk to you about doing trade deals. We can talk to you about foreign policy cooperation. There are lots of things we can now have a proper conversation about. And when President Obama said that the United Kingdom would be at the back of the queue, it was an absolutely disgraceful thing to say. And I hope we're somewhere near the front of your queue, or line, as you normally say.
Yes, well, we were all very excited, stayed up late to celebrate along with you all. What advice can you offer us here in the U.S. in regards to open immigration, as well as secret trade deals? Any advice?
Well, the immigration thing is different because your chief problem, as I see it, is actually illegal immigration, whereas ours, oddly, was legal immigration. Ours was the entire European Union being able to come to our country. But the lessons are the same. Unless your citizens feel that you as a government are in control and have a strategy, then they will become contemptuous of you. So different reasons, but similar result. And this stuff does matter to people. It matters to people hugely.
Okay. And And one last question. You bravely led Britain out of the EU. Do you think that Donald Trump could lead that type of resistance here in the U.S.?
That's for you to judge. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, clearly, he has taken on the establishment in Washington and inside his own party, and I'm going to be fascinated to see tomorrow what he's got to say and kind of how he says it too.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.